Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to get out of executive session then, Jennifer.
Resolution number 20-696 in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote?
Vote on motion 20-696. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Okay, we are back in session and we are ready. So we will go ahead and open the Woods of Glen Erin hearing.
Resolution number 20-697, a public hearing for the sanitary sewer improvements for the Woods of Glen Erin, Serenity Place, and Serenity Woods subdivisions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote?
Vote on motion 20-697. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye. We'll read the next one, waiving some of the rules, if you would please.
Resolution number 20-698, matter of approving for a specific occurrence, a suspension of Rule 3, speaker registration, Rule 4, limitations, and Rule 7, public comment procedures from the rules governing public comment before the Board of County Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote?
Vote on motion 20-698. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye. Okay, it is August 13th, 2020. The Woods of Glen Erin Sanitary Sewer Improvement public hearing is now open. I will read through, hopefully everyone can get the transmission okay and hear okay. I will read through my notes so that everyone understands what will happen today. This is new for us. This is the first time we've done a sewer hearing. And the process is relatively new. We did do a hearing earlier last week and it went okay. So we're moving forward with this one as well. So let me start out by saying welcome everyone to the hearing for the consideration of the Woods of Glen Erin sanitary sewer improvements for the health, safety, and well-being of county residents in response to the continued threat of COVID-19 and in accordance with the orders of the Ohio Director of Health. Public participation in this hearing will be by virtual means. We have only held a couple of virtual hearings. This may be new for you, so we ask your patience as we work our way through this hearing together. Currently, we are muting the participants on the Zoom platform and ask that you stay unmuted until we identify you, and this will help with static and audio interference. For those of you who have participated in Zoom meetings, you'll understand that you can get a lot of background noise and lose the ability to hear people as they are talking. So please keep yourself muted until we identify you, and then once you're done, please remute yourself. Here's an overview of what will happen today. We'll hear a presentation of the proposed improvement from representatives from the Delaware County Regional Sewer District. Following the presentation, there will be a time for questions from the Board of Commissioners. The board will acknowledge receipt of written endorsements or objections to the proposed improvements that we've received so far, the tentative assessments or the boundaries of the assessment district that we have received, written endorsements of or objections to the proposed improvements, the tentative assessments, or the boundaries of the assessment district may be continued to be filed up through 5 days following the close of this hearing in accordance with revised code 6117.06E. So that's really important. We will not make decisions today. The Board of Commissioners will not be deciding on this petition today. And anybody who's involved has an additional 5 days to provide testimony. After questions, there will be time for testimony from landowners. During testimony, you'll be asked to take an oath. So that will be required before you start to make your testimony. Those speaking for or against the project must be either an owner or an attorney speaking on behalf of an owner. When it's time to offer testimony, we'll work our way through the participants on the Zoom platform and call. You may, at first, be identified by your phone number as the participant who is up next to offer testimony. Your line or connection will be unmuted and you'll be asked to identify yourself and if you wish to testify. If you're part of the Zoom virtual hearing, you're not required to testify, but you may choose to do so when asked. So again, we'll go through everybody on on the Zoom call, and we'll ask them, and you can just say no comment or don't wish to testify. Let's see. Typically, we hear from all those in favor and then all those against, but this might not work in this virtual situation, so please confirm if you're endorsing or objecting to the proposed improvements. Testimony will continue if new information comes up or additional people wish to speak. After the testimony, the board will close the public hearing, or the board may also continue the hearing to another date. Again, no decision today. You have, at this point, you have 5 days to submit additional testimony. Resolutions for the commissioners to consider the project improvement, filed objections, and filed deferments will be addressed at a yet to be determined date. So, with that, I think we have the representatives from the Regional Sewer District ready?
Yes.
Okay. And if you could, I don't know, Tiffany, if you're speaking too, but Julie, if you could identify yourselves for the recording and for the audience. And again, thank you.
Yes.
Turn it over to you.
Good morning. My name is Julie McGill, and I'm a staff engineer with the Delaware County Regional Sewer District. I'm going to give a brief summary of the project background and the tentative assessments and a cost comparison before we move into the questions. This project is located in Concord Township. The proposed special assessment district consists of 3 subdivisions: the Woods of Glen, Erin, Serenity Place, and Serenity Woods.
Before we go any further, Julie, are the viewers able to see this, the spreadsheets? They can see it? Okay, great. There we go.
Yes, so if anyone is viewing this on a computer, then they'll be able to see slides. And if you are participating by phone, we can share these with you on our website later today. The proposed assessment district, like I said, it's 3 subdivisions: Woods of Glen, Erin, Serenity Woods, and Serenity Place. These are single-family homes. And when this neighborhood was first developed in 1987, there was no centralized sewer system nearby. So all the homes were built with on-site home sewage treatment systems. As of 2005, it's now feasible for this neighborhood to be connected to sewer, since the Oaks Pump Station was built nearby on Harriet Road. The Oaks Pump Station connects to the county's Tartan Fields Water Reclamation Facility. If this project is constructed, gravity sewers will be installed in the public right-of-way and existing easements in the neighborhood to serve 56 parcels. 53 of the parcels have existing homes, all but one of them built between 1987 and 2006, but recently another new home was built in 2016. There are also 3 undeveloped lots in the neighborhood. As a result, the average life of some of the septic systems, or all the septic systems in the neighborhood, the average life is 24 years old. And some of these systems are over 30 years old and reaching the end of their expected life expectancy, particularly for leach beds, which is the most common type of treatment system in this neighborhood. We should also note that there's at least 1 discharging aerator system in the neighborhood. That's an aerator that discharges directly to the stream. And that's important because the county's MS4 stormwater permit from the Ohio EPA requires us to identify those discharging systems that can be connected to sewer. The project was initiated in 2018 after one of the homeowners in the neighborhood contacted us to ask whether sewer could be installed and what would be the cost. So the Regional Sewer District conducted a feasibility and cost study. Then we reached out to the neighborhood and hosted a public meeting along with the Delaware General Health District in August 2018. We followed that up with a poll of the owners, and 83% of the owners were in favor of going to a detailed design and going forward with the special assessment process. So we hired a design consultant to prepare the detailed design and cost estimate, and then reached out to the owners again in November 2019 for another public meeting and poll. In both polls, owners were asked one question: do you wish the county to proceed with the detailed design and special assessment process? In September 2018, like I mentioned, 83% of the owners responding said yes, please proceed. In January 2020, the favorability dropped to 61%, and that is largely because the cost to each individual homeowner increased about $13,000 over what we had estimated at the conceptual level for the project. The reason the cost is higher is because the detailed design determined that we would need a deeper sewer and significantly more pavement replacement. We also decided to extend the service lines that would be installed for each owner as part of the public project, extend them to the edge of the utility easement, and that's so that the homeowner, when they have to complete their connection, they won't have to have their contractor cross over the water line, gas line, and electric lines. We would do that as part of the public project. Some owners, in addition to the poll, they have reached out to us through email and written comments, either supporting or objecting to the project. Owners supporting the project have most often cited the benefits of public health and to property values that they feel outweigh the cost of the project. Owners objecting most often cited the project cost, or that their treatment system is functioning, so the project does not benefit them. The engineer's estimated project cost is $1,743,000. We allocated that cost between the 56 parcels using an assessment factor that was determined by the distance between each home's foundation and the right-of-way. The reason is for that is that homeowners that are further from the right-of-way will typically have a much higher cost to connect when they hire their own contractor to complete the connection. They therefore receive less benefit and were allocated a smaller share of the total cost. This is similar to the remoteness factor that's used by the Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District when they allocate drainage easements. In this case, most of the homes are within 200 feet of the right-of-way, and they will be subject to a $31,000, $691 assessment. The lowest assessment would be $22,184 for the one undeveloped parcel where the future home will be more than 600 feet from the right-of-way. In addition to that special assessment, when owners choose to connect, they will also be responsible for the cost of the tap fee, installing the rest of their service line connection, and properly abandoning their treatment system. We compared those costs to the cost of installing a new home sewage treatment system and found that total costs for installation of sewer and connecting may be $11,000 to $20,000 higher than installing a new home sewage treatment system. So to reduce the financial impact of that, the county is able to prorate the special assessment for 20 years and certify it to the property tax roll. The regional sewer district has also decided to reduce the financing rate for this service to 3%, making the payments $1,059 twice a year for 20 years for those owners that are subject to the $31,691 assessment. The board has also approved a reduced tap fee, 50% off for all existing homes with septic systems throughout the county that can connect, and that tap fee can be prorated as well. When we compare the annual maintenance costs for sewer versus home sewage treatment systems, they're more comparable. But with sanitary sewer, the owner will have the benefit of having a consistent payment, currently $420 a year, whereas with a home sewage treatment system, maintenance costs will vary each year, depending on the type and condition of the system. At a minimum, new statewide rules require all home sewage treatment systems to be enrolled into an operation and maintenance permit program in which the owners will need to contract with a registered sewage service provider, and that the health district has estimated that cost at $200 to $500 per year. The sewage service provider would perform inspections and submit annual inspection reports to the health district. So after the 5 days following this hearing, if the board chooses to adopt an improvement resolution and move forward with this project and the tentative assessments, the regional sewer district can advertise this project for bid this fall. We estimate that the bidding and construction will take approximately 14 months to complete, so that sewer could be available as soon as late 2021. So that concludes our summary, and Tiffany, Meg, our director, and I are available now for any questions.
Okay, Jennifer, I think we can turn the lights back on. Thank you. Before we proceed, let me I forgot to introduce everyone. We are the commissioners. I'm Jeff Benton, president of the board this year. To my right is Vice President Gary Merrill. To my left is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis. For those of you who joined the call, and our county administrator, Mike Cromer, is over there. Okay, so questions from
yes, Julie, on the cost breakdown, you said the one lot that is farthest away pays less than the lots that are closer. Could you explain why again?
Why? The reason, initially, we considered dividing the total project cost evenly between the 56 parcels. But then it was noted by several of the owners that their homes are more than 200 feet, 400 feet, or even 600 feet away from the right-of-way where the sewer will be installed. So they're going to have a significantly higher cost to complete their connection just because they have a longer length of pipe to install. Therefore, because they have a higher cost, we determined that they are receiving less benefit. It may be not economical in some cases for them to connect. And since they're more than 200 feet from the right-of-way, under Ohio law, the county cannot require them to connect. Therefore, we decided to assign them a lower assessment factor, and we just did it in even increments because there's not an exact formula for how to do this. This is the same methodology that the regional or the Soil and Water Conservation District uses in the drainage assessments. They have a remoteness factor where they reduce it to 0.9, 0.8, 0.7 for every half-mile increments. We did the same thing, but in 200-foot increments.
Okay, so those homes that are further away will have a lower cost in that tentative assessment, but then they will incur more cost in the future as far as actually getting the line.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
There is no right answer on how you do that, but the bottom line is by doing this, those who are closer are subsidizing those who are further away.
Yes, and we looked at, yeah.
That is the end result.
And we looked at what that difference is. Doing it this way raises the cost for the homeowners that are closest by $566 total. So it's a relatively small increase for the homeowners in the 0 to 200 foot category. Yeah. For the homeowners in that lowest category, or the 0 to 200 foot category, their total assessment went up $566 under this methodology.
Spread out over 20 years.
Spread out over 20 years.
Originally, when you went into this, I realize an estimate is that, it's an estimate. Did we fail to consider some of the factors, or I know the depth was, I guess, the huge one. Can you elaborate a little bit on the disparity between the initial estimate, and because obviously the numbers of support went way down because of that, there was an expectation. Could you elaborate a little bit on how that evolved?
Yeah, the conceptual level design, we made every attempt to try to minimize the cost of this project to the homeowners. We believed at that time that we could install a very shallow sewer that most of the homeowners would be able to have first floor gravity service. A lot of them would need a grinder pump to install. However, when our consultants went out and did their survey, they determined the elevations of the streams and storm sewers in the neighborhood. That was information we didn't have at the conceptual level study. And they determined that the sewer would need to be deeper to get under the streams and under the storm sewers. That significantly increased the cost. That was one of the large items. We also, another large factor was that over 700 feet of the sewer will need to be located within the pavement. And that's just, again, so that we can get over or under those storm sewers and streams. And because of that, we'll have to do full replacement of that lane, one lane of the street, that added significantly to the cost.
So the extra cost was not a result of trying to get to those last 2 or 3 homes. It was a factor of getting under the streams and the impact it's going to have on the pavement.
Yes, it's significantly more costly to install sewer after the neighborhood is built, because we are trying to get past all these other utilities, minimize the relocation of other utilities, minimize the impacts to the streets and to the landscape. Usually sanitary sewer is the first utility to be installed, and in this case, it would be the last.
Yes, you mentioned that one system was discharging into the stream. Do we know if there are any more systems?
I have reviewed all of the available on-site home sewage treatment system permits from this neighborhood. The health district has those online, and most of them, I'd say 70% of them, are septic tanks that discharge to a leach bed. I only found one permit for a discharging aerator system. There are a number of other aerators in the neighborhood, but the other ones discharge to either a sand filter, a mound, or a leach bed.
Is that a major expense to redo that one aeration?
That's what
To replace, I guess I'm not sure how the health district would handle that aerator system when it does reach the end of its life and needs to be replaced, because the state no longer wants new aerator systems to be installed, but it may have, the health district might have to answer the question as to whether that's a problem.
So in other words, it is the responsibility then of the health district to address that problem. And if something's broken, then come up with, in other words, you can't keep putting bad stuff into the stream. So the health district is to come up with a solution then to correct that? Is that my understanding?
I mean, my understanding is that, you know, when the aerator reaches the end of its life, the homeowner would have to work with the health district on whether or not they can repair or replace it with the same type of system.
So there would have to come up with some solution.
To clarify, they are currently doing it legally?
Yes, it's a permitted aerator system.
It's currently legal, but it is something that certainly would need to be addressed in some.
Exactly. It's currently, like I mentioned on the other slide, it's, if I back up here. The county's stormwater permit requires us to identify ones that could be legally, feasibly, and economically connected to sewer. We're not required to connect it. But those systems are being discouraged now.
Okay. Oh, that's all. Thank you.
I had a couple questions as well. I know there's an option to defer the assessments. And could you explain why and how that works?
Right. The Ohio Revised Code allows homeowners whose properties don't really need the sewer right now. If, for example, if it is an undeveloped parcel, they can have up to 75%, or they can request that up to 75% of their assessment be deferred. And there's a 20-year limit as to how long that can be deferred. So each year, the board could review whether or not those undeveloped parcels now have a house on it, and that it would be time and fair to certify their assessment to the tax roll. But at the end of 20 years, if there's still no house there, the full assessment would finally be certified to the tax roll.
Are they paying interest during those 20 years? Up to, what, during the deferment period? That's a question, I just.
Yeah, I would,
Yeah, I'm not sure on that.
I would sure think so.
I would, like,
And during that 20 years, they are paying for the 25% of the assessment that must be assessed upfront for them.
I've learned not to make assumptions.
I'm sorry, what? Okay, good. Yeah, that was another thing I want to mention. We do, the county's, county commissioner's attorney is on the call and is an expert in legal matters. And can
Yes,
weigh
I
in
don't know
on-
why I'm answering that.
Yeah, can weigh in on questions that we need him to. So, okay. Another question is the EPA. I know just in general, the EPA is encouraging homeowners who are on home sewer treatment systems, HSTS, to connect to sewer systems whenever possible. Where does the EPA, how does the EPA figure into this process and the future? I know you can't say for sure, but I think it's important to consider what the EPA's role is.
Right. Do you want to talk to that, Tiffany?
Yes, hi, Tiffany Mag, Director of Environmental Services. So that is a difficult question to answer because we really don't know the timing on when the EPA, in coordination with the health district, may say that there is a real issue in this area. That's something that we would be, more kind of guesstimating at when that could be based on the current situation that we have. So I couldn't really put a number of years on that. Currently, there's no findings and orders or anything like that from the EPA. This is more of a proactive approach, obviously because it was brought to our attention by some homeowners because of the status of their systems. So
if the EPA decided at some future date yet to be determined, if you just put in a system 2 years earlier, you could end up having to basically destroy that system and.
yes, if you're within 200 feet of a sewer system that comes through, you would be required to connect. If there were findings and orders, yes.
Okay. Any other comments from the sewer district?
No, I don't think so. I think we were ready for questions if we want to open it up.
Okay. Thank you very much for the diligence and the presentation. I think it does a nice job of explaining it. It is a complex situation.
Yeah.
A lot of dollars involved, a lot of complex engineering and important issues for this beautiful neighborhood. It's a beautiful neighborhood. So having said that, we will, Jennifer's raising her hand.
For the record, we need to acknowledge those people that have turned in
that's right.
written information. To date, we have had no written information on someone who is endorsing the project. We have received requests for deferments from George and Kim Bennett, GJ and Jean Lipovich, Molly and Carrie Thompson. We have also seen written objections from Ryan and Jessica Alden, Chris and Sandy, I'm going to spell their last name, INTIHAR, and Dennis and Avis, KREAIS. And Mr. Bennett has also sent some supplement information to go with his future testimony.
Thank you for pointing that out. It was important that we acknowledge what we have received, endorsements, objections, and deferments requests. Okay, so now we're ready for opening it up to comments.
You want to go ahead and start with the 920?
Okay, can everyone hear us? Thumbs up? Okay, good. That's progress. We are back live. And it looks like, you want to start with the same number? You want to read it again, Sarah? And
920-022-712.
That's me. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, look at that. That's awesome.
All right.
Um,
Okay. As I mentioned in the outline of the hearings, I do need to swear you in if you intend to testify.
It's fine.
You don't think he understands the
Yeah, I'm
question?
good with that.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you may proceed, please.
Identify himself.
Yeah, you need to identify yourself, if you would, please.
Sure. My name is Bob Holtkamp. I live at 10151 Sylvian Drive. I want to first and foremost thank you for taking the time for this hearing and to review all the different perspectives. I'm confident there are multiple different perspectives. You've heard some of them already. I will be speaking on behalf of the majority of those who have voted in affirmative of this. So I am endorsing this project. I also have to thank Mike and Tiffany and Julie for the hard work that they've put in over the past couple of years in making this happen, helping the neighborhood understand the benefits and any of the drawbacks. But I won't go through my entire story as I have in some of the previous meetings, but I will say this. When I moved into the home, realized fairly early on that there was something that wasn't right. I began to request information from both private and public sources. What I've learned in general is that if the neighborhood were built today, that there would be no way to approve this type of patchwork system for our neighborhood, that the geography is just too tight, the soil is not conducive, the proximity to other neighborhoods that now are hooked up, it just wouldn't fly. As we kind of near the end of, or in some cases, probably the true full life of the septic systems, it's time for me. It made sense to take a second look at how the neighborhood was handling sanitation, just given the more we know today about the way these work. And I would argue that some of the systems have failed today. Some of the systems are probably failing, and there are some systems that are probably working, adequately, at least for the time being. But there is going to come a day, when those have to be replaced. The replacement, as I've looked into it, while it may be slightly different from working the full system, generally for the homeowner, it's a one-time cost. Now, you can do home equity loans and other things to spread it out a bit, but you're generally writing a check. And your gracious offer to spread those costs out, to amortize those over a period of time with a low interest rate, quite frankly, I think it's an opportunity that we should be thankful for to take advantage of. As I understand it, if we're going to replace each individual sanitation system in our own property, we're most likely looking at a mound system, and the mound system would, in my opinion, some of the lots would be probably perfectly fine. Other lots would actually help destroy the thing that you all just referenced, and that is the beauty of the neighborhood. Part of the asset and the property value of the neighborhood is indeed kind of what you see and what you see when you drive around. So any prospective home buyer who sees this patchwork, I believe personally that will draw them away from the neighborhood. So that's what I've learned. the options to solve would be indeed this individual approval process, design and approval process of this patchwork system, or the one solution that is being put forward, which allows the homeowner to spread costs over time. It spreads costs equitably, based on, location to the road and to the system, which I support. I'm one who will pay a little bit more, but quite frankly, I think we're stronger and we have higher property values when the neighborhood is on one system versus, multiple systems. My initial reaction to what I was experiencing was one that had to do with the safety of my family, the cleanliness of the environment. And you have both, or you've asked questions about the EPA. Quite frankly, I'd like to avoid any involvement there. And but personally, I know a portion of my property, which is the significant asset that is different than most of the neighboring neighborhoods, is not usable. And it's certainly not usable for a good portion of the year, but you can't build and you can't actually use it in a way that, that enhances the lifestyle of you and your family. I mentioned that the majority vote. Both times that we took a vote, we did have the majority of the homeowners say that they were in favor of the project, and certainly a portion that we lost in that second vote had to do with cost. There's no question about that, But what I would say to the homeowners, and quite frankly, I would say to you in the way of thank you, is you built in a better system. You built in a deeper system that will allow everyone to connect their houses at a basement level. You built in the ability to connect directly to it without having to cross over any utilities, making the entire project safer, both for your people, your teams, as well as the teams that we would individually hire to connect. The fact that you waived half of the connection fee, again, I would thank you for that. And I know that's not an easy thing to do, but I appreciate the fact that you've done that. The last thing I'd like to talk about is just kind of overall benefits that, at least from my research, I would say are strong benefits for the county and for you to make your decision. The first is, again, I believe what you would be doing is a positive vote for the community relative to environment and safety of our families and the surrounding families. I believe that an affirmative vote will allow the county to avoid the churn, the effort, the additional oversight of recreating over the course of a period of time the individual or patchwork sanitation system, all the approvals, all the plans, all the effort that goes into that. An affirmative vote avoids all of that. An affirmative vote will allow the county
We losing?
Lost.
He lost Wi-Fi, his screen's frozen.
Yeah, Mr. Holchamp, I don't know if you can hear us, but we lost you just a few seconds ago.
His Wi-Fi connection dropped.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
It's winding up. Okay.
yep, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Holchamp, thank you. If you have new input and get signed back on and have new input, we'll go back to you. Okay, let's move on to the next one then. Sarah? Can you say that again? Adam Borchers?
Hi, I've just moved into the neighborhood, so I was more just
Mr.
wondering.
Borchers, let me
hold off, please. Do you intend to testify?
No, that's what I was going to say. I'm just more here to listen. I just moved in the neighborhood, so I don't really have a good opinion at this point.
Okay. All right, we'll go on to the next one. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
I think I got cut off, but I also don't know if I lost my place. Can you hear me?
Okay, Mr. Holchamp, you're back on?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I apologize. I don't know where you lost me. I promise for everyone's sake, I won't go back through my entire thing.
Thank you.
Okay.
He was summarizing the.
Yeah, you were summarizing. You'd gone past half the connection fee and you were talking about the county's role.
Yeah, so I'll reiterate, I believe an affirmative vote is a vote to improve the environment and safety for our families and the county. I believe you will avoid the churn and effort and oversight of all the significant approvals and review of the individual patchwork work that's going to have to take place, because we know all of these septic systems are either have failed or going to fail. You avoid all of that. You have an affirmative vote where the citizens are saying, we are willing to provide an additional revenue stream to the county by virtue of signing up and connecting. And like I said, the majority of the neighborhood has affirmed that they are interested in doing that. You'll reduce the consistent need for review of the old septic systems and all the effort that takes place there, as well as any of the liability that comes along with something that fails and where the EPA has to get involved in something that would sit right in, from a news media standpoint, right in our backyard. We would like to avoid that, and we would ask you to affirm the project because of that. And then last but not least, I'm confident that based on today's environment, as well as just the fact that our neighborhood is built so well for the family, whether it's in the Dublin School District, whether it's the extra land, whether it's the size of our homes, we are perfect for the families that are looking for homes today, those millennial families, as well as Gen X families who are coming up and buying these types of homes. I believe firmly this will raise property values, which is also only a benefit not only to the homeowner, but to the county. So thank you for listening to me, and sorry I got cut off, and I'm happy to answer any other questions that you might have, or any questions you might have, from me.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. We will move on. We've asked Mr. Borchers. We'll move on to the next one, please. Bruce, say that again, Sarah.
Yes, I'm just listening into the pros and cons.
Okay. So no test. You don't want to testify specifically.
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to the next one. Christner.
Was Bruce supportive, or he just didn't want to testify, or he didn't?
He just didn't want to testify. He's listening.
I believe that's me. My name is Chris Intihar.
Chris Intihar. Okay. Mr. Christopher.
All right.
Did you want to testify?
I would be very pleased to testify.
Okay, let me swear you in then, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, continue.
His address.
Oh yeah, we need your address, if you would, please.
Oh, yes, thank you. 10099 Sylvian Drive. My wife, Sandy. We have Ginger. So most people know Ginger in the neighborhood more than my wife or me, maybe. Also echoing some of the things Bob said, so thanks to the commissioners and others that have kind of brought us to this. And I empathize with Bob and those that own homes that are on the older side. Our family, we are opposing this. We're strongly opposing this for 3 reasons. And I'll go through each one, but we don't have any issue. Excuse me. We don't have any issues right now. We don't have any problems. And I understand others may have problems or near term on the horizon, but we don't have any issues right now. 2, the economics, the $1.7 million I think could be spent on other things or saved. And 3, the amount of disturbance that this project will cause. So I'd like to briefly walk through each of those 3 and then offer a couple counters as well. So our system is designed as functioned. Our house is only 15 years old. It's on the newer side. It's one of the newest. I'm not sure if it is the newest. We have a dosing system with mounds, as Ms. McGill described. And, you know, we're sitting out in the backyard last evening. We walk around the neighborhood. We don't see any issues. With ours, we don't see any issues. We've lived in the neighborhood for 2 years. We don't see any issues around the neighborhood. And I've experienced dealing with the EPA professionally, and so that's the first place I went to look. Does the EPA have an issue? The EPA does not have an issue. My experience, if the EPA has an issue, you know about it. And I agree that we want to keep that out of the press. But for the economics on this, to get proactive, I don't spend $35,000 to get proactive against something that may or may not happen. That's just not in our interest as a family. So then get to the economics. We will not use the system. Our house is closer to the street than many others. But when we look at it, we have a 15-year-old home and a 40-year-old system, 40-year-old expected life. Maybe it gets there, maybe it doesn't. But if we have 25 years of expected life, I think of what we can do with the $35,000 in that interim time and how much that money will grow and other things that money can do for us. The other thing that and this is a small point, I think, as Julie said, it's a $600 and some odd dollars a shift for homes that are further away from the street and those that are near. But there's other standards on why people may or may not want to tap into this. Maybe they have big trees, maybe they have nice landscaping, maybe they have a new house, maybe they're far away. You know, who knows? But there's other standards, I think, that might also be able to be considered. And we're talking about the $32,000 that were shown, plus the tap fee, plus getting the line to the sewer, which wasn't quantified. At least I don't think it was. Having trouble seeing the slides. Wasn't quantified in there. So you're probably up near $40,000. And the initial estimate was much lower. I want to say it went up by about 60% when it increased, when it had to get deeper. So how much is it going to end up being at the end of the day? Maybe it'll be less, but maybe it'll be more. And which gets to the final issue is the disturbance. You know, this is major construction, dust, mud, trees cut down, driveways cut, streets. You know, I'm not a construction expert, but I think we heard that this was going to be, you know, significant months up to a year with heavy equipment in, with narrow streets, and you know, I don't know what that means for access and how everything else is going to work for us as homeowners. So, I empathize with others that may have a more near-term issue than we do. From our perspective, it's solving a problem we don't have. It's putting a massive liability on our family for something that we won't utilize. And so I do agree that we'll raise property values. I haven't seen any studies on that, and I would not expect that the property value to be increased anywhere near the cost. So for those reasons, again, we don't have an issue. That's a $30,000 to $40,000 asset that we will not utilize, and 3, it's going to be a massive disturbance for our neighborhood. We oppose the project, and I thank you for the opportunity for us to share our point of view.
Okay. Thank you as well for speaking. Now that we've had one person speak in favor and one against, I would just urge the remaining people who wish to speak not to be repetitive. If your points are similar to what the people who have spoken so far have said, then you know, for the sake of brevity and time, this could go on for hours if everyone just kept repeating things. So anyway, we'll move on to the next one.
Dave Relko.
Dave, can you say that again, sir?
Relko, R-E-L-K-O.
R-E-L-K-O, Mr. Relko?
Yeah, hi. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to briefly testify.
Did you want to testify in favor or opposed?
Yes, I'd like to testify opposed.
Okay, let me read you the oath then, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, proceed. Need your address, yep.
Okay. Short, I want to testify that
Oh, shoot, we're getting a lot of,
this point,
we're losing you, sir. Yep, now we're getting, oh, now we're not getting anything.
Move on.
Yeah, we have a bad connection. Mr. Relko, we'll have to move on to the next one, and then hopefully we can come back and try again. Next one, Sarah, please. Can you spell it, Sarah?
Emmanuel Ezerim. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Is this Mr. Relko again?
No, this is Ezerim. Ezerim. The one that said E-Dog.
Is that the one you mentioned? The one I said?
Just
Yes, the
the
one
new
she
one, okay.
said, yeah.
If you could spell your name and give us your address, please.
My first name is Emmanuel, E-M-M-A-N-U-E-L, Emmanuel.
Okay.
Last name, Ezirim, E-Z-I-R-I-M. Address is 9716 Erin Woods Drive.
Okay. Now, did you wish to testify in favor or opposition?
We are kind of new to the neighborhood, so I am glad that I got to listen to at least one for and one opposed, so I'm still listening.
Okay. So,
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next one, Sarah, please. Galaxy S10.
can you hear Mr. Relko again?
Yes, Mr. Relko, are you back on?
Yes.
Okay, now we can hear you fine.
Yeah, I'm on a cell tower. Yes, I'm at 10120 Sylvian Drive, and we're opposed to this. And is this an appropriate time to ask a question like of Julie?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Julie's right here. She can.
Okay, I heard a comment about that the sewers are all low enough to be, are going to be low enough for basement entry from all the homes. Is this a true statement?
That was not correct. Well, I know one of the homeowners mentioned their understanding was the sewer is now deep enough for everyone to connect by gravity, even for their basement, but that is not true. The terrain in the neighborhood is very rolling, as you may know, and some of the houses sit low relative to the street and relative to where the sewer would be built. And some of them sit far back from the road. Those homes that sit really low or far back may have to use a grinder pump to connect, and it would connect by pressure. So we factored that into the design. And I believe there are 7 homes that would have to have a grinder pump to connect, and everyone else would be able to connect by gravity from their basement elevation.
Okay, my particular house, I currently I have a grinder in the basement just that pumps into my upper level, but and out. But would I be able to lower that down to and exit the basement now?
It depends on the individual house. I'd have to look at the plans to see what elevation your basement is probably at relative to the sewer and the distance between the house and the sewer.
Could I request that?
Yes, I can
look at that.
Definitely look into that and get back to you. Is it okay if I follow up after this meeting with the answer about that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But again, still, we're currently opposed to this
Okay,
going forward. And that's really all I have to say.
okay.
He's
Very good.
currently opposed. That means he may change his mind after the,
Question for you, Mr. Rocco. Did you hear the question?
Nope, that was all.
you said you were currently opposed. Does that mean you may change your view after you get this information back?
No, we're opposed with it, but I still want the information.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I understood. Thank you.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, sir. So we'll go on to Galaxy S10. That's obviously a phone identification. This is actually a Galaxy S10.
Yeah.
It's not coming from here.
Okay, this is Galaxy X10.
Okay, great. And your name, please?
Ernest Potter.
Potter?
Potter, yes, like
Okay.
Harry.
Okay. Did you wish to make testimony today?
We would like to request the grinder, that the last information like the last fellow did. But we have, at this point, not made any decision one way or the other.
Okay. All right, so you don't wish to testify then at this point?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir. If we're going to the next one.
George Bennett.
George Bennett.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Mr. Bennett, did you wish to testify?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me swear you in if you would, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, if you could identify favor or opposed and your address, please.
Sure. My wife and I live at 7669 Serenity Drive.
Okay,
We own two lots, a developed lot and an undeveloped lot, and we are in favor with respect to both lots. Our view is that we've lived here for 25 years. There is a problem in the neighborhood. You can't walk around the neighborhood without recognizing that there's a problem. We don't look forward to either the cost or the disruption, but it's something that needs to happen. And so we are in favor of the project. I have submitted 2 comments. One, on the undeveloped lot, we are requesting a deferral. On the developed lot, we are not requesting a deferral. And then in terms of the location, as the sewer comes down the private drive, the November drawings, and I've discussed this with Julie, had one location, and then that was changed in the more recent drawings. We believe the more recent portrayal would damage 8 very mature trees coming down the common access drive there. All of the neighbors impacted by the common access drive agree that the original location was a better location for the sewer. And so with the exception of those 2 comments, we are in favor, believe this needs to be done, and support the project.
okay.
I have a question.
Commissioner Merrill has a question, sir.
Mr. Bennett, you said when you walk in the neighborhood, there's a problem. I assume you're referring to smell or odor?
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify what I thought you were saying.
Yep.
Maybe a little clarity about why they did change the location of the sewer. It might be helpful if we had
On this
that.
particular street?
Yeah, because they talked about moving, I think, one side of the street to the other or whatever. That might be helpful.
Yeah.
Right. The reason that the sewer moved to the other side of that particular street is because the opposite side of the street where it was originally located has a gas main and a water line that would potentially conflict with this. So it was moved to the side with the trees. I am going to talk with our design consultant and see what options we might have to avoid the trees. The other options might involve like relocating one of the other utilities or locating the sewer within the pavement.
Julie, I'm not
Either
sure.
one of those will increase the project cost.
Julie, I think you're going to find that there is a gas line on the side where the sewer is intended. I think you're going to need to check that.
Okay. I know there are also some telecommunications lines on the same side as the trees. So really, it's like I said earlier, when the sewer comes in after the neighborhood is built, we are going to encounter issues like this. So we're doing our best to try to avoid mature trees, but in many cases, there are trees located in the right-of-way and in the utility easements. So technically, they're encroachments. And where we can avoid them, we will, but it also can potentially add more money to the cost of the project. But I am definitely going to follow up on Mr. Bennett's question.
Okay. Good. Anything else then, Mr. Bennett?
No.
Okay, thank you. Move on to the next one, Sarah. Polk, P-O-L-K? Hope, H-O-P-E. Okay. That was kind of close. Mr. or Mrs. Hope? Mr. or Mrs. Hope? They dropped off. Okay, we'll move on. Lipovich? Lipovich?
There it is, Lipovich.
Lipovich. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
I would like to testify.
Okay, let me read the oath. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
All right. Please identify favor or opposed and your address, please.
My wife and I currently own the undeveloped lot 4476, which is at 7639 Harriet Road, which we purchased in 2004. Okay. From 2000 to 2019, we lived at 9719 Erin Woods Drive. So we have about 20 years experience in the neighborhood. At the risk of repeating, thank you to the staff. We feel they've been open to questions. They've tried to explain things clearly to us, and we appreciate that. And we appreciate your time in considering this. We would also note that in walks through the neighborhood, we notice odors. There is a stream on our lot that runs from south to north on the east side. And on occasion, I've noticed an iridescent, oily kind of sheen in the water, which may be indicative of sewer systems or septic systems not completely doing what they're intended to do. We had a soil evaluation done a couple of years ago on our lot and had a septic system designed. And I can tell you that the cost of the proposal is about double what a septic system would cost. In spite of that, we're in favor of putting in the sewer system. I'd like to note two other things. One is, I'm not a lawyer, but as I read the recorded plat of the Woods of Glen Erin, and as I read the restrictive covenants, both of those make reference to the availability of public sewer and state that should it become available, all lots are required to connect to it. The other thing that has occurred to me, and you get some groans or eye rolls at this, but please hear me out, and that's the impact of COVID. The pandemic now has us all washing our hands much more frequently. Parents who went away to work 9 hours a day now work from home. Children are at home learning instead of at school 7 or 8 hours a day. We don't go out to eat or to amusements at the same level that we used to. All this means that there's more hand washing, more dishwashers being run, more toilets being flushed, more laundry being done. And in general, septic systems were designed recognizing that the soil could bear a certain amount, and they probably made assumptions about the amount of activity. The impact of COVID may mean that in a year or 2 years, we'll see excessive use of those septic systems and more failures than we might have seen under any other circumstances. So as I said, in spite of the fact that it will be more expensive, we think ecologically and for health reasons and for property value reasons that the best thing to do is to approve this. And so we urge you to provide an affirmative vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Move on to the next caller.
Judy Kander.
Judy Kander. All right. Judy Kander.
Hi, I just want to, I don't have any comments, but I just want to say yay or nay.
You're listening?
Yes,
Okay,
I'm listening.
very good, thank you. Next.
Well, can I say what I, like, whether I endorse it or not? Without, like.
Sure.
Do I need to be sworn in to say that?
Just wanted to say that.
Yes. I'll go ahead and swear you in then. Do you solemnly swear a testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay,
Your address.
and address, please.
10125 Sylvian Drive.
Okay,
And I just want to say my husband and I, we've looked into it and we fully support the sewer project.
all right,
No matter what it costs. So,
okay,
and we appreciate all that you've done in trying to keep the costs down, but yeah, we're fully supportive.
okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Move on to the next one.
We're going to try Hope one more time.
Try what? Hope? Hope, last call. Okay, move on.
Michael Adolph.
Michael Adolph?
Yes.
Michael Adolph.
Hello.
Hello. Did you wish to?
Hello, I'm in favor.
Okay, let me.
That's it.
Okay, let me swear you in just so we get that on record. Do you solemnly swear a testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Michael Adolph, 10222 Sylvian. I'm in favor. Thank you for the hard work and assessments.
Very good, thank you. Next, sir.
Larry Gasparo.
Larry Gasparo.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Current resident of 20 years. Our address is 9776 Erin Woods Drive. And I would like to provide a positive testimony, please.
Okay, let me read you the oath then, please. Do you solemnly swear a testimony you're about to give is the whole truth? Is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay. And
Yeah, we are in favor of the sewer project. We thank the committee for the diligence that was performed. I echo the sentiments of Mr. Bennett. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Next one.
Patty.
Spell that.
P-A-T-T-I.
Say it again.
Patty.
C-A-T-T-I?
No, hi, Patty Auerbach, Patricia Auerbach, 9961 Sylvian Drive.
Okay.
I wasn't planning on testifying. I just have some questions based on the commentary that's been going on.
I'll swear you in if I could, please.
Sure, absolutely.
Do you solemnly swear a testimony I'm about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
Okay.
Could you repeat the address a little slower?
Yeah.
9961 Sylvian Drive.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You can
Coming up in December, we'll have been doing here 27 years. The house is going to be 30 years old. We have a large system. In 2016, we invested substantially in fixing, ripping trees out and fixing drainage and some of the leach lines. So everything's working good. I've had it inspected. Initially, I mean, I did vote no on the record just because of the cost. I heard you guys, as the commissioners, questioning some of the houses getting a discount. I'm one of the houses that's getting a discount. I just want to say that, and I just want to clarify, I can't be required to tie in because we're over 200 feet. Some people have had issue because they're saying they're subsidizing my system. I'm going to say I'm okay with it now as I had a reduced price because I'm not planning to tie in. I would like to confirm that I'm not required to tie in. Mr. Lipovich indicated that once the system is built, that there's something on the books that says we have to tie in. I want to clarify that that's not the case. The reason we most likely won't be tying in is because the cost of tying in is more than building a completely new system, is my understanding. Now, I've tried to get cost estimates, but without a final plan, I wasn't able to do so. I understand that a number of the systems in the neighborhood are failing, and I'd like them to have the ability to repair that and do that. And I understand that the system will do that, and I'm prepared to pay my share. I just want everybody to understand that I'm paying for a system that most likely I'm not going to be using. Now, is it true I don't have to tie in?
Yes, Julie, you want to go to the microphone, please, if you would?
Actually, I guess the county cannot order the connection. I'm not sure how the language on the subdivision plat plays into that, but under the state of Ohio revised code, the health district and the county commissioners cannot order a homeowner to connect if the foundation is more than 200 feet from the right of way.
Okay, and also I'm one of those homes that is not able to be gravity fed because I'm more than 600 feet off where it would have to connect to the house. And I would have to have a grinder pump.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, so would you say you're opposed or in favor then?
That's what I wondered.
I'm conflicted because selfishly, because I don't want to have to fork out $25,000 for something I'm not going to use, but I'm also sympathetic to my neighbors that are suffering from it. And I have been here in times where some neighbors weren't taking care of their systems and have smelt that smell, and it's definitely not pleasant. Now at least we're forced to get our things inspected every year. You know, I'm prepared to do this as long as I don't have to tie in and everybody, and as long as I'm getting somewhat of a discount, because I feel I'm subsidizing the neighborhood, not the other way around.
So she supported it.
So it sounds like you're in favor?
Yeah, as long as I don't have to pay equal to everybody else, as long as you're not going to go back and change that so I have to pay $35,000, I'm willing to say yes.
That's the proposal.
Yes, but I'm just, what I heard the commissioners saying to me indicated that you guys might be questioning the judgment for some people to be paying more than others. Is that not correct? Did I misunderstand that?
No.
I mean, I don't sense that we're
I think
proposing that we change the allocations.
No.
Yeah.
I think
I don't think we. Yeah.
I think we're operating the assumption what we presented today is the template we're working from. So
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
If we changed it, I think we'd have to go back and redo the hearing process.
Right. Right.
So,
Okay, then I support it.
okay, very good. Thank you.
Supports it. Oh, okay.
Next,
Brian Alden.
Ryan Alden.
Yes, as mentioned earlier, I have submitted a written objection to the proposal.
Okay.
That are given as much weight as the verbal testimony.
Okay, let me swear you in if I could, please, sir. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, if you could give us your address, please.
9877 Erin Woods Drive.
Okay. Proceed.
And I wasn't going to say more because it's all in the letter that I've written, but I do object to the proposal.
Okay. Okay.
What did he say?
He sent a letter. He was one of the ones that sent the letter.
he just refers to the letter.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, move on.
Terry Clinker.
Jerry Clinker.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Did you wish to testify?
I do.
Okay, let me swear you in. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, if you address, please.
9913 Erin Woods Drive.
All right, thank you. Proceed.
Well, I'm going to start off by saying that I am opposed. Most of the reasons have been given, so I won't go over a lot of them. One of the things that people have talked about is the smell. I had to laugh because on the neighborhood Woods of Glen Erin website, people who have have sewer systems, not in Delaware County, but Tartan West and Jerome Village, all talk about how they have the sewer gas smell in their neighborhood. So I'm not sure that that's totally going to take care of that problem. One of the things that you all talked about was the beauty of the neighborhood. It is a beautiful neighborhood. We are original owners. We've been here for 29 years. The neighborhood will not be beautiful for the amount of time that it's going to take to put this sewer system in. It says that that things will be put back and made to be the way that they were to the original condition, replacing trees and bushes, but you're not going to be able to replace a mature tree. We are also a corner lot, and we will have the sewer system going across the front and all the way down the side of our lot. And probably more than anything, we are retired. And as of 2 weeks ago, my husband died. We were looking to downsize, and now that he's gone, I definitely want to downsize and put this house on the market. This is going to hold everything up, not to mention the fact that I am on a fixed income. And I am going to be bearing this burden alone now. So that's all I'm going to say, other than I am opposed.
I have a question.
Yeah, Commissioner Merrill.
Julie, Ms. Klinker indicated that could be a smell after the line's put in, which I'm not familiar having experienced that anywhere else. Is that an issue or is that a concern?
With pressurized systems, smells can often happen, and I think that may be the case with the other subdivisions that she mentioned in Tartan West and Jerome Village. Tiffany, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Jerome Village have some low pressurized? Yeah, I'm not sure why those other subdivisions, they're not in our system. They're in Union County, and I'm not sure why there may be complaints, but it may be that they have a low pressure system, which in that case, with a low pressure system, every homeowner is on a grinder pump, and the sewage doesn't just flow downhill in the public sewer. It's in a small force main. It sits there for long periods of time at night and causes odors potentially. That's why for the Woods of Glen Erin, we were recommending a gravity sewer system and not a pressurized system.
So the system we're putting in place should make that a non-issue.
Correct.
Okay, good question. Okay, we'll move on. Sorry.
I would just like to say thank you for listening. Sorry I got emotional, and I am definitely opposed.
Okay, well, thank you.
I have a letter coming to you tomorrow.
We're sorry for the loss.
Yes, we're really sorry.
No, I didn't say it for that reason. It's just personal. Thank you.
So sorry.
Sure. Okay. Sarah? Holt Camp, Tina Holt Camp.
Yeah, I am obviously endorsing it. My husband was Bob Holtkamp, and he.
Let me swear you in if I could, please, before you go on. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And your address, please?
10151 Sylvian Drive.
Okay. And
my husband, Bob Holtkamp, was the first one to
Can you
speak.
repeat the address, please?
Her husband already testified.
Yeah, 10151 Sylvian Drive.
your husband has testified? Did you-
Yes, he was the very first one, Bob Holtkamp.
Right.
So obviously I am endorsing.
Okay,
Okay?
Thank you.
thank you. All right, next one.
Kelly,
Spell that, please.
Kelly, Kelly, Scott, SCOTT.
Scott. Okay, Kelly Scott.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Did you wish to testify?
I do.
Okay, let me swear you in, please. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, and your address, please?
7690 Serenity Drive.
Okay, proceed.
We are the newest house in the neighborhood with the newest septic system, so I do have empathy for those that are close to failing. But we at this time do not wish to have the sewer run through the neighborhood. Our biggest concern is just the unknown costs that nobody knows at this point to run the line to your home. And it's going to wildly vary depending on your landscape that you have established on your neighborhood. So that's a big concern. We are also past the 200 feet, and I would like to get that confirmed because we would probably not tap into it as well. But we are against.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you. Next, Sarah.
WAFA, O, WAFA.
Yeah.
OH? Is that WAFA O?
WAFA and an O.
Just letter O. I was going to say OHIO, but
Yeah.
that isn't.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, hi. Yeah, my name is Wafa O'Day, and
Did you
I'd
wish
like
to testify?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me swear you in, please. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, proceed. Well, give me your address first, please.
Our address is 7655 Serenity Drive.
All right, proceed.
Okay, my name is Wafa O'Day, and my husband, Ben Branham. We oppose the project. And the reasons we oppose it is for the cost involved. They're saying about $32,000 over 20 years, financed at 3%. That's about $42,000 it's going to cost if we are actually here for 20 years. Besides the cost to tap in, which is unknown. So I'm estimating about the total cost over 50 years, at least $50,000 is what I'm thinking. Besides the fact that this project will be intrusive for, they're saying 14 months, but I doubt that because projects always go over, especially on narrow streets like we have in our neighborhood. I mean, you guys have all witnessed when we have someone out here doing maintenance on a house, like tree service or even mowing grass, and they're parked on the side of the road. You see how difficult it is to try to maneuver around that. So imagine that being in the neighborhood for over a year, and our children want to play. Who knows what it's going to be like in the winter. The other issue is if we are not here for 20 years and we come to sell the house, yeah, having a sewage system in place might up the value a little bit, but it's also a deterrent for a buyer to come in and assume an assessment this big. So there's that. And I mean, we're newer here, and I know a lot of people are actually opposed to this. We moved in November, so I know people who have been here for a longer time. I mean, I empathize, and I feel like if someone is willing to pay that much money to put into this project, then if a newer updated septic system would cost half of that, wouldn't they be willing to pay that instead of having everyone in the neighborhood be obligated to pay this? I mean, those are our issues. And I know a lot of people are against this and are just staying neutral for some reason because of pressure maybe from neighbors. I don't know, but I have heard a lot of people against this and they're not speaking up right now. So I am speaking up, and that's our vote.
Okay, thank you.
I have
Thank you.
another.
Commissioner Merrill has a question.
Julie,
For Julie.
we're getting a lot of comments about the length of the construction, the inconvenience. You want to elaborate a little bit on the length of the construction as you see it, and how much of an inconvenience is that going to be at any given time?
Hold on. The actual construction itself, we estimated at 9 months. Now, it won't be the entire neighborhood torn up at one time. The contractor cannot just walk away and leave an open trench. They excavate, install the pipe, backfill as they go. So that, and then for the locations that are in the street, we have a maintenance of traffic plan. So there would be at times one lane closed and traffic having to go around it, but everyone will still have access into and out of the neighborhood. The contractor would also coordinate with each individual homeowner during construction so that they're aware of when their driveway, if or when their driveway may be cut. Because obviously the sewer is on one side of the street, all the homeowners on that side of the street, at some point, yes, they will be inconvenienced for a day or two while their particular driveway is cut and then replaced.
But there won't be a 9-month in front of my house.
Correct. And actually, the last few months of that, partly it is that after 30 days, right? After 30 days and 90 days after the sewer is complete, we're factoring in that the contractor has to go back after 30 days and 90 days to test the sewer and demonstrate to the sewer district that the sewer meets our standards. So that's factored into that 9 months.
All right, thanks for that update. That's good. Sarah?
The next couple are phone numbers.
Okay, phone numbers, next one.
314-941-5790.
That's
Okay, is this that number?
yes, it is.
Okay, if you could identify yourself, please, and tell us, and if you want to testify.
Yes, my name is Patrick Crakes, and my wife Michelle and I live at 7665 Serenity Drive.
Okay. 7665?
Yes.
Did you want to testify?
Yes, I do, quickly.
Okay, if you could repeat your last name, I didn't quite catch that.
Crakes, Crakes.
Okay, and let me read you the oath, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, proceed.
I just want to make a point that when you think about the long-term value of the property, within the next 5 years, the idea that the properties in this neighborhood would all be attached to septic, when every home that's being developed in the area is $750,000 to $1 million in value, and it's all going to be hooked up to the sewer, it's going to have an impact. Strategically, there's not a lot of good reasons to not hook up because of that. So one of the worries would be the impact upon long-term value of the properties, but also take into account the restriction on your land from the leach fields and other items. To maintain a older system, like a septic system in the context of new development and hook up to modern services, could be a strategic error.
Okay. All right, so you are in favor?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Anything else, sir?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next one is another phone number.
573. 573-578-6614.
Hello, yeah, that's me.
Okay, and if you could tell us your name and whether you want to testify?
Yeah, I don't want to testify. My name is Mosna Abro. We just moved in like 1.5 weeks back into this house. My address is 9787 Erin Drive. I just came on to this meeting to hear the point of view of different people who are in favor of it and against it. So I would need some time to think over this and then decide whether in favor or against.
Okay, very good. We will move on. Next one, Sarah.
614-312-7394.
That's me.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, if you could tell us your name, please.
My name is Gladys Sierra and my address is 10288 Sylvian Drive.
I'm not sure I caught any of
We
that.
can't even,
I'm sorry, it was really garbled on our end.
yeah.
If you could maybe spell it for us, spell us just your last name.
My last name is Sierra, Sierra.
Boy.
Anybody get that?
Can't understand it.
Maybe your address, we could get it from your address?
Okay, 10288 Sylvian Drive.
10288 Sylvian Drive?
Yes.
Okay,
SIERRA.
all right,
10288,
yeah,
okay.
okay. And sir, did you wish to testify?
Yes.
Yes?
I'm going
Okay.
against.
Let me read you the oath then, please. If you could, I don't know, if you could get closer to your phone or your computer and maybe speak up, that would probably help us understand.
Okay.
Let me read you the.
Better like that?
Yes, much better. The oath,
Okay.
do you solemnly swear testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, great. You may proceed.
Okay, I'm going against.
Against, okay.
Against,
That's all,
okay.
okay.
All right.
All right, we'll move on to the next one. That's it? Oh, okay.
Great.
So that's all the testimony?
That's all the colors we have, yes.
Okay, that's all the callers. Did we miss anybody that did wish to testify?
Mr. Commissioner, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Jay Lipovich again. May we ask a question, a clarifying question?
Sure.
So I made comments regarding requirement to connect. I think there's confusion about it. So the question to Julie and the staff, if this were approved, are all homeowners in the district required to pay the assessment, or is that an individual choice?
Okay, good question.
Yeah, all homeowners in this proposed assessment district would be required to pay the assessment, but they are not required to pay the tap fee
And tap in.
and tap in until they choose to do so.
Okay.
Good point to make sure everyone understands.
Yes, good point.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Everyone's unmuted, so if you want to take a final roll.
Everyone is muted?
Unmuted.
Unmuted. At great risk, we've unmuted everyone. So if, just one last chance for anyone to testify again, you have 5 days from today to submit testimony to the clerk.
Can I change my vote?
Change your vote?
Yeah.
We're not voting here. We're just offering testimony, but sure, if you want
Can
to,
I change my testimony?
you can change your testimony, sure. You could
Some
give it,
point, this is Patty Auerbach at 9961 again.
okay, gotcha.
There's some points raised that I hadn't considered, such that the smell is going to continue if we go ahead and do this, and it's a substantial investment for everybody that's involved. If that's the case, then I'm not in favor. And then if it's true that based on the deed restrictions that once the system's built that I have to tie in, if that conflicts with the Delaware County requirements, then I'm against this.
Well, let me just clarify that, because I think you may misunderstand. You are not required to tie in. Julie, maybe you could
I think
just,
you're misunderstanding.
just
I don't know the difference between the law and the deed restrictions, and I haven't read the deed restrictions for the Woods of Glen Erin in a while, but what Mr. Lipovich is saying is that in the deed restrictions for the Woods of Glen Erin, that if there is sewers, you are required to tie in. So and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know if that means that the deed restrictions are binding and I'm gonna have to tie in, then I'm not in favor of this. Also, there are 7 houses that are gonna be on grinder pumps, which would be under pressure. And if we're going to spend all this money and still have smell, then I'm against it.
Yeah, maybe that'd be a question for, although it may be a question of deed restrictions, which Eric, our council would not be in a position to opine on, but that's a good question for Eric.
Eric, would you weigh in, please?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Eric Hostetler, the county commissioner's attorney.
Okay, so what Julie stated was correct about the county or the health department requiring connection. That cannot be done, and service is not considered to be available unless it's within 200 feet of the closest foundation. What I cannot give an opinion on is the effect of any deed restrictions or covenants actually in the property deed that's itself. I'm not aware of whether there's a homeowners association for these neighborhoods. If there is, then a homeowners association could try to enforce such restrictions. Also, private property owners could seek to enforce any restrictions, but without, those would be private matters. I can't offer an opinion, just state that that is a possibility, having not even read the restrictions to know what they say.
So you would encourage everyone to research it on their own then, is what you're saying, research the deed restrictions on their own.
Sure, and if that's a concern and somebody wants to submit additional testimony, they can do so in writing within the next 5 days.
Right.
Okay, so to clarify, we don't have a homeowners association that wasn't properly set up. Does that mean the deed restrictions aren't enforceable, or you're still saying a neighbor could say, we want you to tie in?
It's possible that there would be a private enforcement action, but there are too many variables there, and having not even read the language, I'm not able to offer an opinion. Yeah. And even if I did read it, since I represent the commissioners, I'm not sure that I would offer an opinion.
Right, right. Yeah, so just to reiterate, that is up to the private homeowners to research the deed restrictions on their own and get opinion from their counsel.
What I can offer to the board is the support of what Julie has stated all along, which is that the county, the commissioners, or the health department would not be in a position to force someone to connect if they are further than 200 feet. Their closest foundation is further than 200 feet.
This is Julie McGill. I just wanted to follow up on Ms. Auerbach's other comment about the potential for odor in the neighborhood due to the sewer project. I just want to make sure that that's clear, that the gravity sewer system that we're proposing would not cause an odor.
So as Tartan Fields, Julie, is Tartan Fields not a gravity system?
I don't really know the answer to that question, because it's the Tartan Fields subdivisions immediately surrounding your neighborhood are part of our system, and most of those neighborhoods have gravity sewer, but they feed into a series of pump stations. I'm backing up all the way to our project location slide, that there are a number of pump stations and force mains. Those are the red lines on the map that I'm showing right now that run throughout Tartan Fields. And it is true that with a pump station and a force main, or in some fields like Jerome Village, there may be and maybe they have a low pressure system where all the homeowners have a small grinder pump. With those pressurized systems, the sewage sits in the pipe for long times, and the systems have air releases to let the air out, and they can cause odors. The gravity system that would be installed in this case would not cause an odor in the Woods of Glen Erin.
Okay.
What about the gravity system I would have to install? Would that create an odor? Not the gravity, the pump
Like the
system.
grinder pump that you would install?
Yes.
It would not have an air release on it. You would have a grinder pump at your house, and it's just, it wouldn't be any different than like a septic tank or something, or for those folks that have aerators or septic tanks that may have an odor near the house, but it would not be like throughout the neighborhood.
I just wanted to clarify, and Julie, I guess I'll put you back up there. So if a home is within 200 feet of the sewer, then they do have to connect. Is that correct?
They can be ordered to connect, and Eric can feel free to explain that.
Eric?
Eric, do you want to explain who can order and how do they order a homeowner to connect if they're within 200 feet?
Good question.
So the question is there legal authority to do that versus is it required? There would be legal authority for the health department to order somebody to decommission their home treatment system and connect to available centralized sewer.
Yes, you have to connect.
That is not the
He's trying to say
commissioner's
yes
decision.
without saying yes.
And I can hear everybody speaking. So
Yeah, remind everyone we are unmuted, so everyone can hear everything. So if you could please be quiet while Eric's speaking about the health department order, that'd be appreciated.
My understanding from experience with the health department is that the health department does not require somebody to connect when they're within 200 feet unless there is a failure of their on-site system.
Okay.
And I apologize for the lawyer answer.
And then I have another question. Then if someone is beyond that 200 feet, they do not have to connect, but they still have to pay the assessment. Is that correct?
Unless they request and are granted a deferral.
Okay. Okay.
So anybody who is in a position where they do not feel that they are likely to connect due to the distance or the age of their system, they would always have the ability within the 5-day time period to file a written deferral request. And if they meet all of the criteria, the board would have the ability to grant that deferral request.
Okay.
This manual is in 9716. I was one of the people that said earlier that I was just listening to the argument. Can I take sides now? Is that okay?
Yeah, we can swear you in. You can offer testimony if you haven't before, and you aren't just being repetitive. We can take that, certainly.
I will swear in.
Okay, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And your address is
9716 Erin Woods.
Erin Wood Drive, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are going to support this thing because sooner or later we still have to do it at some point. And I believe we need to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, sir. All right. And again, we're at the end of the open testimony. If anyone has any additional testimony to offer in favor or opposition of items, arguments that have not been presented, then that would be the last time. Let me remind you, you do have 5 days to submit testimony to the clerk.
Written testimony.
I'm sorry, what, Jennifer?
Written testimony. It has to be written testimony. They have to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it has to be written testimony. It can be email or letter.
No, it cannot be email.
Can't be email. It has to be a
written.
letter.
Yes.
Like I said, it has to be a letter. It
It has to be received in 5 days or
Yes,
just
by
postmarked?
Tuesday, the 18th.
Postmarked.
Eric?
Eric?
It needs to actually be received.
So we need to have, now you can walk it in, correct?
Correct.
You can, yeah, you can hand deliver it here, Commissioner's Office, 101 North Sandusky in downtown Delaware. But it does have to be received.
Commissioner Benton, I do have one point. We had tried to elicit testimony from the person identified as Hope, and on the chat, it appears a Ms. Christopher says she does not have a speaker or camera. Nothing that is written in the chat can be considered on the record. So if that individual wishes to present their testimony, they'll have to submit it in writing within 5 days.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. That's a good point. So, Mr. or Mrs. Hope, if you wish to offer testimony, please make sure that the clerk receives that by Tuesday in written form. Okay, very good.
So,
Excuse me.
Commissioner Lewis?
Yes, we're ready to read the resolution on the closing of the public hearing.
Okay.
Okay.
No, excuse me.
Yes.
Yes.
I had a question. How would that mean that we had the right to vote, but after that we had to pay? I don't have the money to pay. That is the reason I feel so sorry, but.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, but
you can take my house because that is so sad. That everybody care about themselves, but they don't care about the another.
We're going to have to swear you in if you're going to offer testimony. We couldn't quite understand you.
Okay, that is the reason.
Do you want to make?
Very upset with you guys.
Is that a yes? Did you want to make testimony? Yes, no? Oh, I can hear you. Last time, do you want to make official testimony? Okay, well, we'll move on.
Let's,
clerk.
I would ask the clerk, please, to read the resolution closing the public hearing.
Resolution number 20-699, in the matter of closing the public hearing to address the sanitary sewer improvements for the Woods of Glen, Erin, Serenity Place, and Serenity Woods subdivisions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 20-699. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Okay, just for the record, everyone listening, the hearing is now closed, but again, I'll remind everyone, you do have the opportunity, and particularly the last person we weren't able to really connect with, but you do have the opportunity to submit written testimony to 101 North Sandusky in Delaware by Tuesday, what is that, the 18th, Tuesday, August 18th, 2020.
The end of the day or this
End of
time?
the day.
End of the day, 4:30?
Yes.
4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, August 18th. So if you have additional comments or again, in support or opposition, and then we'll take all of this material and work on that, and then some date in the future to be determined, we will have a decision. So again, thanks everyone. Everyone was very, very well done. Sometimes we had a little difficulty hearing, but I really want to thank everyone for their patience. In that first hour, we weren't able to get everything going. Thank you all. And this is a very difficult decision. It's a lot of money. It's a beautiful neighborhood, and I appreciate everyone's testimony. And we'll conclude. So, okay. So now, Jennifer, are we in the hearing or in the session?
Yep,
Or
we
the
can
hearing's
end the
closed?
session. Yep.
Now we end the session.
And we can end session.
Okay. All right, with no further business to come before this board, we are adjourned. Lewis bangs the